Okay, so we're looking at the quadratic function word problems. And the first one reads, suppose that the profit P in thousands of dollars of a manufacturing company is related to the number X in hundreds of full-time employees by the quadratic function P of X equals negative 1 1/4 X squared plus 156 1/4 X, where our x's are between 0 and 100. So our domain is between 0 and 100. What is the profit if the number of employees is 500, 1,000, and 1,500? So if you notice, your P, your profit, is in thousands of dollars, and your X is in hundreds. So if it is telling me that my X is in hundreds, then when it gives me 500, 1,000, and 1,500, we're going to use our X as X equals 5, X equals 10, and X equals 15. And that is because it is in hundreds, so we have to make sure that we're using the correct X. So now for each of those pieces, we're going to substitute. So for A, you're going to have P of X equals the negative 1 1/4 times 5 squared, we'll put that in a second, plus 156 1/4 times 5. And so now I'm also going to put my squared so that it's part of the problem. So, and you can put this into Desmos. So you can say negative 1 1/4 times 5 squared plus 156 1/4 times 5. So this means when there are 5,000 employees, your profit is 750,000 because our profit is in thousands. So we can say when there are 500 employees, the profit is 750, and this should be money, so 750,000. Okay, and then you would have to do the same when X is 10. So when X is 10, you're going to go back in and substitute 10. So in place of the 5, we would input our 10. And so when we have 1,000 employees, the profit is, so that would be in thousands. So that would be, you would look at that as 1,437,500. So when there are 1,000 employees, the profit is 1,437,500. All right, this is still all within part A. Then what you want to do is we're looking at when X is 15. So we're going to go back into our problem, and instead of having a 10, we're going to have a 15. And remember, this is not saying we have 15 employees. This is saying we have 1,500 employees, and we want to find our new profit. So we would go in and input 15 into our formula, and we find, so we would have now 2,062,500 as our profit. So for A, there would be 3 parts. You would have had it with the 5, with the 10, and with the 15. So that is how we do A. Now, for the next part, it says find the maximum profit. So if we remember quadratic, so if I have my quadratic negative 1¼ x squared plus 156.25x. So if we remember when we have our quadratic, the maximum is called the vertex. So looking now, we're going to look at part B. So we're going to look at part B. So looking at part B, we're asking ourselves, find the maximum. So the maximum is the vertex. So we look at the vertex, the maximum profit. So we're looking for the maximum profit. So I see my order pair is 62.25, and then 4,882 and approximately 8.813. So now find the maximum profit and the corresponding number of employees. So if I'm looking here, what does the 62.5 represent? That is X. So if we go back into our word problem, it says the number of X is the employees. So we see that when there are, when we have 62.5, which is 625 6,250 employees, we have a maximum profit. So when there are 6,250 employees, we have a maximum profit, and this is in thousands, so you're going to move, your decimal 3 places. So that's going to be 4,882,813. So 4 million, your maximum profit is $4,882,813. So for B, we use the vertex to find the maximum. You also use the vertex when you find the minimum. And so that's what we will look at in number 2. All right, so we'll look at that in just a minute.